We give you a news headline, and you will guess the missing word or phrase. When you know the answer, just blurt it out, and if correct, keep track of your winning points in your head, with a pen, or with a counter. Quiz questions are worth 1 point. However, the 5th and 10th questions are genius-level questions, are extremely difficult, and as such are worth 3 points each. So if you get any of these quiz questions correct, consider yourself very clever indeed. As a reward, we have a bonus comedy clip for your enjoyment after the final question. And now, the first question of our quiz. After months of suggesting that mass voting by mail amid the coronavirus pandemic would cause a blank, U.S. President Donald Trump now appears to be embracing the practice. The answer is rigged election. With less than 3 weeks until the presidential U.S. election, the Trump-Pence campaign has rolled out a social media advertising campaign encouraging voters to request their ballots by mail. One of several advertisements sent to voters on social media urges electors to vote like President Trump. The U.S. federal government, continuing its string of blanks this year, has set the dates for 2 more, including the first woman in more than 6 decades. The answer is execution. Lisa Montgomery is expected to receive lethal injection on December 8, the Justice Department says. In 2004, she was convicted of strangling a Missouri woman who was 8 months pregnant, then cut out and kidnapped the baby. GOP senators try to further distance themselves from Trump, but it may be too late to save their blank. The answer is majority. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell continues to drift away from President Donald Trump in the final weeks of the 2020 election, even as the pair barrel toward filling a 3rd U.S. Supreme Court seat. The Russian president proposed the new Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty, new blank, should be extended for 1 year unconditionally, as it is set to expire in February 2021. The answer is START. The Trump administration has rejected the calls to renew New START over fears Russia will increase their stockpile of nuclear weapons despite the pact. New START, signed in 2011 by then-President Barack Obama, restricts the number of nuclear warheads the U.S. and Russia can control at any time to 1,550. Blank is using a scorched earth strategy to keep evidence away from lawyers representing 737 MAX crash victims, lawyer says. The answer is Boeing. Boeing defended its approach, saying that it has produced almost 2 million pages of documents and is committed to working with the families. Trump appeared to fall for a blank post which joked that Twitter shut itself down to stop criticism of Joe Biden. The answer is satirical. The story, by conservative satirical site The Babylon Bee, was joking about Twitter's attempts earlier this week to limit the spread of a questionable New York Post story about Hunter Biden. Trump warns of backlash if the EU levies around $4 billion in blanks after WTO ruling. The answer is tariff. The WTO's decision on Tuesday is part of a trade dispute that has lasted nearly 16 years. The EU had long claimed government subsidies for U.S. aircraft manufacturer Boeing were unfair. Trump is taking down names as Republicans begin blank on his totally off the rails campaign. The answer is Jumping ship. That sense of paranoia has been fed by the president's aides and confidants, who have flagged news coverage for him of Republican politicians either openly criticizing his conduct or else trying to distance themselves from a looming possible electoral bloodbath. Sugar. High fructose intake may trigger ADHD blank disorder, aggressive behavior. The answer is bipolar. As scientists examine the causes of attention deficit hyperactivity syndrome, ADHD, and bipolar disorder, a new catalyst is emerging. Researchers from the University of Colorado's Anschutz Medical Campus say sugar intake may play a major role in these disorders and even aggressive behavior. Blank. As sleep aid may do more harm than good, say scientists. The answer is white noise. Whether it is nature sounds, the whine of a hairdryer or the incessant hum of a ceiling fan, white noise apps have been downloaded by millions of people around the world in the hope of getting a better night's sleep. However, research suggests there is no good evidence that they work, and may even be making things worse. Congratulations, you made it. As a reward, here is your comedy clip of the day.
I've been collecting stories that are told in the Soviet Union by their people among themselves, which reveal they've got a great sense of humor, but they've also got a pretty cynical attitude toward their system. And I told this one, Bill, you'll have to hear it again. I told it in the car. I didn't tell this one to Gorbachev. You know, there's a 10-year delay in the Soviet Union of delivery of an automobile. And only 1 out of 7 families in the Soviet Union own automobiles. There's a 10-year wait. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. And this happened to a fella, and this is their story that they tell, this joke. That this man, he laid down his money, and then the fella that was in charge said to him, okay, come back in 10 years and get your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fellow behind the counter said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? And he said, well, the plumber's coming in the morning.
Gets lonely out here on my deserted island. Thank crikey I have my AiTrivia game to play every morning. Make it a habit and subscribe now, and you too can start your day with 10 minutes of great fun. And you just might learn something. See you again tomorrow.